In a small village at the edge of an ancient forest, the legend of Isolde, the cursed maiden, was a tale whispered in hushed voices. She had once been a beautiful woman, betrothed to a nobleman she loved. But on the eve of their wedding, he betrayed her for wealth and power, leaving Isolde's heart broken. Desperate for vengeance, she sought the help of a dark sorcerer. The sorcerer, however, twisted her wish, binding her heart to shadows, turning her into the Shadow Maiden, a creature doomed to live without love, with her heart hidden deep in the cursed forest. The only way to break the curse was for someone to give their heart freely, knowing it could destroy them. Edric, a kind-hearted young man, lived in the village. His family, his mother and sister, had fallen ill, and no remedy could save them. Desperate to find a cure, Edric sought out the village healer, who told him of a rare herb that might heal them. But there was a cost. The herb grew deep within the cursed forest where the Shadow Maiden roamed. Despite the warnings, Edric ventured into the forest, determined to save his family. The woods were dark and twisted, the air thick with shadows. As he moved deeper into the forest, Edric came across a still, black pool of water. There, standing at its edge, was Isolde, her beauty haunting and ethereal. Her long, dark hair flowed like shadows, her pale skin glowing in the moonlight. Edric, captivated, stepped closer. "Who are you?" he asked, his voice soft in the stillness. "You shouldn't be here," Isolde replied, her voice a whisper. "Leave, before it's too late." Edric explained his quest, his desperation to save his family. Isolde's sorrowful eyes softened, and she directed him to where the herb grew. But despite his mission, Edric returned to the forest the next night and the night after, each time drawn to Isolde's beauty and the sadness that weighed heavy in her eyes. As they spent more time together, a bond grew between them. Isolde shared pieces of her story but kept the darkest secret of all until one night, she could no longer hide it. "I am not what you think I am," she confessed, her voice trembling as she stood by the pool, her back turned to him. Edric frowned, stepping toward her. "What do you mean?" Isolde's breath hitched as she gathered the courage to face him. When she finally turned, her eyes were filled with pain. "I am bound to this forest, to the shadows that consume it. I am cursed, Edric. Cursed to live without love, without light. My heart is hidden deep within the darkness, and anyone who dares to love me will be consumed by that same darkness." Edric stared at her, his mind racing. He had suspected something was different about her, but this was beyond anything he had imagined. "I don't care," he said, his voice steady despite the fear gnawing at him. "There has to be a way to break the curse. The only way is for someone to give their heart freely," Isolde warned, "but it could destroy them." The next day, Edric sought out the dark sorcerer, deep in the forest, demanding to know how to break the curse. The sorcerer, a twisted figure cloaked in shadows, smiled cruelly. "Give your heart to her," he said. "But beware, the shadows may take you before the curse is lifted." Edric, resolute in his love, returned to Isolde. He knelt before her by the pool, his eyes filled with determination. "I love you, Isolde," he said. "I give you my heart, no matter the cost." As he spoke the words, the shadows began to rise, swirling around him, pulling at his very soul. The darkness threatened to consume him, but Edric held fast, his love for Isolde stronger than the shadows that sought to claim him. Isolde, tears streaming down her face, reached for him as the curse began to break. The shadows around her heart shattered, and the darkness retreated. But Edric collapsed to the ground, his life seemingly gone. "No," Isolde cried, cradling him in her arms. Her curse had been broken, but at the cost of the man she loved. For a moment, the world stood still. But then, a soft light began to glow, and Edric stirred. His eyes fluttered open, and he smiled up at her. "I'm still here," he whispered. The curse had been broken by the strength of their love. As the first rays of dawn broke through the trees, Edric and Isolde walked hand in hand out of the cursed forest. The shadows no longer held power over them. Together, they returned to the village, their love triumphant over the darkness. Their love had conquered the curse, and now they were free. Like, subscribe, and share to follow more enchanting love stories and dark fairy tales like The Cursed Heart. Join us for more magical adventures.